Hey everybody, I'm JJ. You're watching Reality Survival. So today we're going to have a quick discussion about drones. Um, drones for prepping, and specifically this is going to be kind of 7 tips for what you can do to hide from drones. Now, I recently purchased this DJI Mavic Mini, and the footage that you're watching here is from that drone. So just to give you an idea, most of the time we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 meters up to 100 meters high, and just kind of flying around the property, just looking at different things and stuff like that. As you can see, if you were in a position to where you needed to try to hide from a drone footage for some weird reason, then you would want to make sure, number one, is avoid open areas, grassland, plains, tundra, etc. As you can see in the footage here, when you look out into the open area, it's just really easy to see what's there. When you're looking into wooded areas, even when there's no foliage, like right now in the middle of the winter time, it is still much more difficult to see what's going on, in those wooded areas. So number 2 is the size. You want to keep your footprint small. If you need to, if you've got a bigger group, then you want to go ahead and spread out, and try to use the concealment. That's number 3. Use the concealment to your advantage as best as possible. Utilize trees and bush, cover the terrain, geography. In this shot here, it's kind of cool. It's we had some freezing rain the last couple of days, and so when you get it in the right angle, you can see how the ice is on the limbs, and it kind of reflects in the light. I thought that was kind of a neat shot. All right, number 4 is make sure to camouflage yourself and your gear and your vehicles. The goal is to blend in and reduce the shine as much as possible. Number 5 is time. If you're going to need to move or do activity and all those kinds of things, and you're worried about drones watching, then you want to try to move at night, because most commercial off-the-shelf drones don't have a thermal capability built into them. You can get those, but they're a lot higher end, and a lot fewer people have access to those with, forward-looking infrared and those kinds of things. So if you can move at night and do your activity at night, then that's going to be beneficial to you, because these types of drones don't really do, these small commercial off-the-shelf drones don't really do well at night. And number 6 is you might think about designating a person to watch and listen for drones. Even at 100 meters in the air, this little drone is still clearly able to be heard. Now, if you get higher, then you're probably, you might get to a high enough point where they wouldn't be able to be heard. But at that point, if drones are that high, then they don't offer as much detail on what they're seeing. So the main point is that if you have somebody listening when it's quiet out, you can probably hear them if they're in your area, depending on what altitude they're at. And number 7, if you have your own drone, then you can use those to see how you could improve your camp as far as its signature from above and what it looks like and all that. So as far as use from a prepping concern, the way that I see these things is, they could be useful in trying to determine if there's forest fires in the area, or flooding. If you're watching flooding or something like that, you could use these drones real good for that, for like regional type disasters. What I personally bought it for was, aside from just using it on here on the YouTube channel, was for real estate photography, and for being able to get pictures and stuff like that from above. From a tactical perspective, in a SHTF kind of situation or whatever the case may be, I think that the use is fairly limited in that regard. They really don't give you a good I don't know what the right way to put it is, a huge tactical advantage. I mean, you could go in and you could look at certain places or something like that before you actually physically go in, like if you were scavenging or something like that in like a without rule of law situation, just to kind of see if there's people around or whatever the case may be. But you have to remember that it's working both ways because, again, you can see these drones, even the small ones like this one, and you can also hear them. For sure. I mean, they're louder than you would think. So you could be potentially giving away your position just as much as you're improving your chances by looking and seeing what's there ahead of time. So, they have a ability to be used for, gathering intelligence and surveillance and reconnaissance and all that kind of stuff. But it's not as much as you might think. I guess is kind of the way that I'm looking at it. The battery life is pretty low on most drones. You maybe get 20 minutes or so. Some of them 30, maybe a little bit more on some of the good ones, but somewhere in that neighborhood. And of course, you can always return home and put new batteries in and stuff like that. But then you also have to remember people can watch drones and see where they go. So if somebody saw it, they could also follow it, closer to your wherever you are, and you could be bringing people back to your camp as well. So there's both sides to that coin when it comes to usefulness and that kind of thing in an SHTF type situation, if you ask me. I know some people put a little bit more credibility into them. And I'm not saying that they can't be useful. I'm saying that you just need to be careful because you could be giving your position away just as much as the advantage that you're gaining, I guess. So they're kind of fun to play with, and they do have some uses. Like I said, I think if you live in a forest fire country or something along those lines, I think this would be a really good tool to have, just to be able to keep an eye on where things are at. Same thing in flooding and that kind of thing. But beyond that, I think maybe it's a little limited. I suppose if you were in a without rule of law situation, you might be able to use small drones like this in a checkpoint kind of scenario where you could stop vehicles, maybe 100 or 200 yards away, and then fly the drone in to take a look at them, look in their car, that kind of thing, and then have them pull forward or something like that if you wanted to be imaginative. But I don't know. I'm still thinking on this a little bit on what their usefulness is. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you could, let me know what you think and how they could be used. I think that would be interesting to see what your guys' perspective is on this as well. So anyway, that has been just 7 tips for hiding from drones. I got the inspiration for this video from a video that S2 Underground did. If you guys are not subscribed to S2 Underground channel, then you should be, because they offer all kinds of great information. I just kind of adapted some of the things that he said into more of a prepping kind of thing. I think his is more direct towards like combat troops and those kind of things. But anyhow, it's a good video, and he's got a great channel, so you should definitely check that one out as well. All right, before I go, I just want to remind you guys, if you are looking for protecting your home or your vehicle from an electromagnetic pulse, or your solar panels, or generator, any of those kind of things, then you should head over to empshield.com. And if you use the discount code Reality Survival, it'll save you $50 per unit at checkout. With all the things that are going on over in Ukraine and Russia and all that kind of stuff right now, I gotta say it might not be a bad idea to have some of that protection. We just never know what's going to happen. I really think that it's a pretty likelihood that there's going to be any issues with, any kind of nuclear war or EMP, but who knows? Stranger things have happened, I suppose. So it's one option for your preparedness. If you've got all the basics covered and that kind of stuff, then it might be something that you want to think about. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, I appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button and when you share it with your friends. And if you are on Getter or Truth Social, you can find me at Reality Survival on both of those platforms. And the Truth Social is still kind of getting set up, but that's my profile name. So hit me up if you guys decide to get an account there. And then I've also got a community on Locals as well. It's just Reality Survival 1 on locals.com. So, all right, guys, take care. We'll see you on another video here shortly.